Cloud seeding, what's all that about? Let's have a deeper look at it. I'm on the metoffice.gov.uk weather, atmospheric modification and geoengineering, understanding what is meant by atmospheric modification and geoengineering. Atmospheric modification could include any attempt to alter the composition of the atmosphere to try to change local weather patterns or affect the climate to curb global temperature rise. Geoengineering is often reserved for those actions which attempt to curb the greatest impacts of climate change, while weather modification is usually taken to refer to those actions, such as cloud seeding, to alter the weather in local areas across short time scales. There is misinformation on social media suggesting the condensation trails, contrails, from high altitude aircraft are visual signs of attempts to alter the atmosphere or for other nefarious purposes. The term chemtrails is sometimes used to suggest that the condensation contains added chemicals. Despite numerous claims, there is no evidence to support such suggestions. Altering local weather patterns may seem attractive in some circumstances. For example, inhabitants of some drier regions of the world may want to induce rainfall through cloud seeding. Cloud seeding programs have been carried out in some countries and other parts of the world. The Met Office does not undertake any practical or theoretical research into weather modification. Altering the global atmosphere to curb some of the worst impacts of climate change may be considered by some to sit alongside other forms of action to reduce climate change impacts. To help policymakers reach future decisions on the risks and merits of geoengineering, the Met Office conducts research using computer models of the world's atmosphere. Some of these impacts show potentially hazardous effects on the environment, such as differential regional imbalances on global rainfall. Removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is sometimes included within geoengineering. However, simply removing carbon dioxide, which has already been emitted by human action, is atmospheric restoration rather than modification. The Met Office does not recommend any atmospheric intervention that involves adding chemicals or substances to the atmosphere, such as injecting aerosols into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight back into space. The misinformation you may encounter. The Met Office is involved in atmospheric modification, such as cloud seeding. Their response: the Met Office does not engage in adding substances to the atmosphere in order to modify it. The Met Office does not undertake any practical or theoretical research into weather modification. The Met Office misinformation. The Met Office promotes geoengineering. Their response: to help policymakers reach future decisions on the merits or risks of geoengineering, the Met Office has conducted theoretical research on the efficacy and potential impacts from geoengineering techniques upon the climate system using computer models of the world's atmosphere. Some of these impacts show potentially dangerous effects on regional and national climate, such as significant changes in rainfall patterns. The Met Office does not promote any atmospheric interventions. So that's their stance on this. Now, things that I've read on cloud seeding, the danger is you might be concentrating on one area. Here's where we want to induce some rainfall. So they're inducing it there, but they cannot predict the effects in other places because of what they've done here. So it can cause other possibly severe weather patterns in other areas. Also, my concern is you're messing with a system. This Earth is just one planet in an entire system. Anything that happens with one planet affects other planets. And it's like a knock-on effect. We need to be looking at our own actions on the ground, not interfering with atmospheric things. Cloud seeding is currently used worldwide as a localized weather modification method to increase rainfall and snowfall by 5% to 15%. It works by dispersing particles such as silver iodide into existing clouds to help water vapor condense into precipitation. Major active cloud seeding programs include United States. The Western US is heavily active, particularly in Utah, which runs the world's largest remote-controlled program. Utah utilizes drones and an expanding network of automated generators to boost snowpack and combat the Great Salt Lake crisis. States like Wyoming and Colorado also target winter clouds for snowfall, supported by firms like Rainmaker. China. As a major driver of technology, China conducts massive operations across northern and northwestern agricultural regions. The government deploys extensive fleets of planes and drones to mitigate drought and manage water vapour. United Arab Emirates. The UAE files hundreds of missions annually to force rainfall over arid desert areas. Central Asia. Central Asia, partnering with the United Arab Emirates, Kazakhstan, expanded its cloud seeding projects in the southern Turkestan region to stabilise agricultural output. Iran. Facing historic multi-decade droughts, Iran utilises cloud seeding to induce rain and prop up rapidly declining reservoir levels. While considered an important climate adaptation tool by these governments, it remains scientifically debated regarding its overall impact on long-term water scarcity, as well as transboundary impacts when used near international borders. Like, where did cloud seeding come from? Who invented it? Well, it was first invented by Vincent J. Schaefer, an American chemist and meteorologist working at the General Electric Research Laboratory. He made the serendipitous discovery in July 1946 when he dropped dry ice into a deep freezer to lower the temperature, triggering a cloud of ice crystals to form. So, the chronological history of how cloud seeding evolved from earlier concepts to scientific deployment and military applications. 1891, American inventor Louis Gathman proposed shooting liquid carbon dioxide into rain clouds to induce precipitation, establishing an early theoretical framework. 1930s, European scientists developed the Berggren-Findeisen process, theorizing that the induction of ice crystals into supercooled water droplets would cause rain. 1946, Vincent J. Schaefer successfully conducted the first controlled laboratory and atmospheric cloud seeding experiment using dry ice at General Electric. Shortly after, his colleague Bernard Vonnegut discovered that silver iodide was highly effective at generating ice formations. 1947, Project Cirrus was launched, becoming the first official military and scientific collaboration to modify clouds, which even included attempts to alter hurricanes. 1960, programs like Project Skywater were introduced to test boosting civilian water supplies and agricultural irrigation. 1967, the technique was weaponized during the Vietnam War via Operation Popeye, where the US military seeded clouds to trigger heavy mud and bog down enemy supply lines. Modern day, following decades of research and environmental testing, such as those led by organizations like CSIRO, Cloud seeding is an accepted atmospheric science used in over 50 countries to manage droughts and enhance winter snowpacks. What do we think? What do we think about interfering with the atmosphere? All those different layers that surround us are being affected. The Earth's being affected in different ways. Some might, are we playing God? That's what I want to say. Are we playing God? And the big people have us little people thinking it's our fault that there's a climate change and everything. Well, hold on. All these rockets going out up into the atmosphere and stuff, airplanes in the sky emitting things, you lot digging things in the earth and taking things and removing things, are upsetting the balance of everything. Interfering with Mother Earth itself, all the drilling, all the removal of things, the crystals, the everything. I mean, you take your crystal out your watch, your quartz out your watch, it ain't going to work. You keep taking quartz and stuff out of the earth, what's going to happen? You're in balance in some way. Something's happening. The cloud seeding, that keeps going on. You're fucking the weather system totally. It's in control. You cannot control that. You might be controlling that one cloud space for that area to get rain, but there's knock-on effects that they cannot control. So let's have a look at those cons. So the pros, the advantages: enhanced water supply. It can significantly boost snowpack and rainfall, providing long-term benefits for municipal water reservoirs, aquifers and drought relief. Agricultural support by increasing precipitation. Cloud seeding helps maintain soil moisture levels and improves crop yields, boosting agroeconomic opportunities. Weather regulation. Beyond just creating rain, the technique is widely utilised to suppress hail and to minimise damage to agricultural lands. Economic return. Investing in seed programs can yield a high return on investment by preventing drought-related crop failures and offsetting expensive water shortages. The cons, the disadvantages. Dependent on existing clouds. Cloud seeding cannot create clouds out of thin air. It requires pre-existing moisture, rendering it ineffective during severe cloudless drought. Unintended environmental risk. The widespread introduction of chemical nuclei, such as silver iodide, raises ongoing questions about the long-term toxicity and accumulation of these substances in local ecosystems. The risk of extreme weather. If not perfectly controlled, seeded storms can result in excessive, rapid precipitation, escalating the immediate risk of flash floods and soil erosion. High costs and efficacy debates. Operations require specialised aircraft, chemical formulations and skilled personnel. Despite decades of use, scientific evaluations show highly mixed results, with estimated precipitation increases ranging from 0 to 20%. Do the UK use cloud seeding methods? No, the UK does not use cloud seeding. The UK government and the Met Office do not deploy weather modification technologies, nor do they have plans to use them. A clear breakdown of the topic clarifies the facts. Their current status: the UK relies on its natural weather patterns and does not artificially induce rain or clear skies. Because the UK is an island nation with highly unpredictable Atlantic-driven weather, the government has repeatedly confirmed it has no need for weather modification. History and misconceptions. Past trials, the Royal Air Force and the Meteorological Office did conduct experimental rainmaking trials in the 1950s, but these were discontinued. Conspiracy theories. Unusually wet summers sometimes spark online rumours or conspiracy theories involving geoengineering or chemtrails, but both the BBC Verified Services and climate scientists have confirmed these claims are entirely false. Future research. While cloud seeding is not used for daily weather management, the UK government's Advanced Research and Invention Agency, ARIA, has funded research programmes to study the science of small-scale outdoor geoengineering. This research focuses entirely on understanding climate intervention concepts and potential risks, not on manipulating the weather. So a little bit more research, like if we're not using it, can we be affected? Can our weather system be affected by the other countries that are using it? The UK cannot be affected by targeted localised weather modification like another country's cloud seeding. But it is highly vulnerable to large-scale geoengineering projects. If another nation or private entity unilaterally deploys global climate-altering technologies, the UK could experience significant unintended shifts in its weather patterns. Because the Earth's climate is an interconnected system, altering the atmosphere in one part of the world creates teleconnections, atmospheric ripple effects that change weather thousands of miles away. Unintended impacts on the UK weather. Studies and climate modelling from organisations like the Met Office and the Scripps Institution of Oceanography highlight how foreign climate-altering actions could hit the UK. Severe European heat waves. A prominent 2024 study published in Nature Climate Change modelled the effects of marine cloud brightening, a technique where ships spray sea salt into the clouds over the Pacific Ocean to reflect sunlight. While this could cool the US West Coast, simulations show that by the year 2050, it would alter global heat transport and exacerbate summer heat stress across Europe and the UK. Disruption of the jet stream. Large-scale interventions like stratospheric aerosol injection, where planes release reflective particles into the upper atmosphere to mimic volcanic cooling, can alter temperature gradients between the equator and the poles. For the UK, this risks shifting the jet stream, potentially locking the British Isles into prolonged periods of either intense flooding, water storms, winter storms, or severe summer droughts. Slowing ocean currents. Asymmetric geoengineering, cooling one hemisphere more than the other, could impact the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation. Wow, the AMOC. The ocean current system that includes the Gulf Stream. If a foreign project inadvertently slows the AMOC, it could trigger a dramatic cooling effect or drastic rainfall changes specifically across the UK and northwestern Europe. The UK's vulnerability to external weather alteration is worsened by a lack of global control. There's no binding international law. There's no strict international regulation or enforcement body governing geoengineering. While a de facto moratorium exists under the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, it is not legally binding. The risk of unilateral action. Wealthy nations or even rogue private tech startups, such as those already experimenting with sulfur-rich high-altitude balloons, can theoretically alter the atmosphere without international consensus. UK proactive research. Because of these risks, the UK government's Advanced Research and Invention Agency and UK Research and Innovation have funded multi-million-pound programmes. The goal is not to manipulate the weather immediately, but to map out these exact atmospheric risks so British policymakers can defend UK interests in global climate negotiations. So there you go. There's some information on cloud seeding, who invented it, who uses it, why they use it, what the pros are and what the cons are. What are your thoughts? Write in, let us know. cafesoulpod@gmail.com.